Hi everybody, it's Dr. Katka here. I feel very inspired to share with you about the experiences I'm having with a lot of my patients and or with family members when it comes to the current COVID-19 vaccine. So, my opinion, I myself am not going to get vaccinated. However, what that means, it is my decision, and I know that I feel strongly about it, and it is backed up by the information that I am able to access. It is backed up by my beliefs of the strength of my body and the capacity of my body naturally to deal with this infection if it were to come into my system. I also have resources when it comes to doing treatments, vitamin C IV, ozone treatment. I have access to the ivermectin that I share with you. That is either preventative and or treatment option for us with a very good effect. So all of those I know are available to me. And so in my heart of hearts, I know that if I were to get this infection, I am going to be able to recover from it. And because I have the belief and because I have the strength of my resolve and the intuition, what is right for me, it is relatively easy for me to make that decision to not get the vaccine. And when patients ask me, what would you do? What should I do? What would you recommend? I give them what I know. I tell them, here is the data, right? And I'm not going to go into the data because it's a whole different video of its own. But I do give them data, and I give them the bigger picture data. There's what we're getting through the media, what we're getting from the vaccine manufacturer, from the government. We're getting, if this is 100% of true data, we're getting, 10, 11% is what we're actually getting. And then there is all this other additional information that is now being presented to the larger public. So I share that with my clients, patients, family members, and I give them that. And what that does, it does one of two things I have noticed. It either creates a relief, like, okay, I knew there is more. I was, worried about the vaccine anyway. I didn't believe in it in the first place. I never believed in this, and this really helps me to make my decision and feel more confident in not getting it. That's one way to go, and that's, a beautiful place. Like, I can give somebody more data, and that data just, what it does, whatever discord there is, whatever confusion there is, that data coming in says, oh, okay, and it connects the dots, right? And then there is a relief, and then there is belief, and the decision is made. Then on the other hand, there is somebody who is really not sure, and they are feel very pushed by either their peers, their family members. I have somebody who babysit for a family, and that family is asking them to vaccinate to get their job. I have a lot of, so everybody, it's from different standpoint, but there is this, I'm not really sure, and I'm really being asked to do this, but I'm not sure, and I'm afraid to do it, and I'm afraid not to do it. I'm afraid to do it because I'm not sure what is going to happen, and I'm really afraid not to do it because what if, God forbid, I get sick? Like right now, I talked to my aunt, and it's a very tough place. There's some underlying conditions, that she has been told by the media, by the government, by the medical establishment that if you have these, so there's this data. If you have these, you're more likely to get sick and you're more likely to die, right? Check. Now, with so many people being vaccinated, there's a lot of infections without the manifestation of the condition, so it's easier for people to get infected with somebody who's not really even exhibiting any symptoms, right? And then there's this exposure to children, grandchildren, so there's all this data as far as, okay, so I really am not sure over here, but I have all this stress that all of these are my risk points. And then what becomes, there's a scale, right? There's like the risk benefit ratio. And what I have seen, and here is where I am just asking to, how can I be of support to somebody who is under so much stress that sometimes, even though I were to believe that the vaccine is not the best thing for me, if I don't get it, I am going to be so stressed and I'm going to be so worried, and I may lose my job, and my husband may divorce me because he got it and he needs me to get it. Like, what happens at that point, the stress of not getting it, I am seeing it's like this huge division within the person. And I have just had the experience where I listened to a message from my aunt, and it's almost like there's this anguish about the conflict, and then with this anguish within the conflict, the decision is extremely difficult to make, because there's anguish over here and there's anguish over here. And I'm asking, how do I come in here and bring the data in? Because here somebody is really, in order to be able to continue their life for whatever reason in a relatively peaceful way, they are required to get the vaccine. Over here, they really don't want to do it, and they're afraid because all the data is saying, wow, if I get it, I'm gonna die. It's like, it's not, almost sometimes turn around for some. Now it's becoming so confusing within the, yes, the data is here, and now like I could get really sick doing it, but I'm gonna be really having a difficult time living my life, because yes, I'm worried about something going wrong when I get the vaccine, and I'm really worried about something going wrong when I don't get the vaccine, because there's still this data about I can still die if I don't get it, and then all my life, a lot of other aspects of my life are going to be stressful more so than ever. And so what is the answer here? Like, literally, what is the answer? How am I to contribute to somebody who is in a place of such anguish, right? And so what I have realized, so I'm speaking to patients in different countries, and they have different conditions, right? There's different vaccines. It's very limited. Like, for example, in Canada, it's a whole different situation than the United States. In Europe, it's a whole different situation than the United States. And it's very stressful on the organism one way or another. So how can we take this conflicting information and step back? Remember, it's all about the bigger picture. I believe it's all about the bigger picture. How do we best support the body? Because if I remember that the mind and the power of the mind is very strong when it comes to affecting the body, if I believe in my mind that the vaccine is the best thing for me and I'm not able to get the vaccine, I'm going to be so stressed. So when I get the vaccine, I'm going to be so relieved that relief, that decrease of my stress, no matter how unkind the vaccine could be to my organism, that power of the relief with the endorphins, with the neurotransmitter, with the hormones, with the frequency of mitochondria upregulating and the DNA upleveling, like all of that, the stuff that we don't even talk about, that has the potential of having more beneficial effect than whatever the vaccine is bringing in. And trust me, like I am really trying to figure this out because I'm seeing it firsthand as to, yes, there's all these side effects and, you know, all of that with the vaccine, and there's all this here, people still getting ill and dying from the COVID. So it really comes down to what is going to, and I would never think I would say this, okay? Because from my standpoint, we don't know what the vaccine is going to do. We don't know what the virus is going to do. We don't really know, right? The one thing that I know is what is going to strengthen the body the most, and what is going to be available for this powerful human organism that we are. Because we have been loading toxins into our body from day one, whether they come in a form of vaccines, whether they come in a form of, you know, spraying the air with chemicals, whether they come on our food, whether they're in our water, like you name it. Like it is not the first thing, right? This is like one thing on top of another, and you've heard me talk about it, and I'm not going to go into detail. But how do we take all of this and make the body the strongest? Because if I'm worried about, you know, the toxins coming into me and the mycotoxins here and the mold over here, and I'm stressing on top of all of that, I am down-regulating my endocrine system, my nervous system, my immune system, you name it. When I am in a place where no matter what comes into my organism, I'm going to stay strong, I am going to up level, I'm going to upgrade, I'm going to stay connected, even though I'm putting all these resistors, quote unquote, that are disconnecting me between the power of my body and the consciousness and the power of the universe and my mind. Even though I'm putting them all in, I am that strong that I'm going to overcome them. I'm going to turn them. It's almost like here comes the resistor, and I have the power to switch it and make it flow again. It's like that is going to become the focus, because in this place over here where I am so torn and I don't know which one to get, in order to either get it or not get it, I have to kind of disconnect from this fear, right? And from this anguish. So I have to turn off some part of me, and I'll get the vaccine and then I'll be stressing about having it, versus I won't get it and I'll be stressing about not having it and getting sick. It's like there's no win-win. So how do I, as the physician and as a human being, support another human being? And what I'm seeing right now, that yes, I can present the data, and sometimes the words of the data, like when I say something, if you get the virus, you'll die, and if you get the vaccine, you can get sick and die. It's the same, it's like the opposite side of the same coin in a way. And what I want to just put out there at this point, whatever we need to do to keep our body the strongest, the most connected, the most in a place of resolve, like no matter what, I'll be okay. If I get the vaccine, I'll be okay. If I don't get the vaccine, I'll be okay. Whatever brings the biggest relief and the biggest, like out of the two, if I were to put one in my one hand, I'm getting the vaccine, and one in the other hand, which one feels like it's going to bring the most relief? Which one feels like it's going to make me stronger, make my mind calm down, make my immune system and nervous system down-regulate the stress, therefore up-regulate its capacity to live? Like honestly, that is going to be my focus right now. Because if I am to tell somebody this data about a vaccine and they decide not to vaccinate because the vaccine is the trouble, and then they're going to be stressing 24/7 about not having the vaccine and creating all this stress, how is that going to benefit them down the line in staying strong with this COVID thing? So it's almost like I've been telling it over and over and over. But what we're experiencing right now is asking us to almost, you know, when you have a spiral staircase, right? There's level 1, there's level 2, level 3. It's like we're right now going like level 5 here. We're really being, it's a year 5, it's a year of change. We're really asking to go, and the staircase is going bigger. It's like a spiral, right? One, and it's getting bigger. So we're in this place over here, and somehow there's like this point where the staircase is missing for a little bit. So like think about the analogy. So we're going, and between level 4 and level 5 there's a huge gap, and we have to sort of trust and jump. Like we almost have to just jump, and for a little bit neither one of the feet is touching the surface, so we have to trust and fly. That is the next step in our evolution of the human beings. It's the next step in our capacity to wake up the innate ability of our body to heal. And it may be that this COVID/COVID vaccine is really asking us to do that, and is doing it on many levels. And one of them, could we actually go to the core of who we are and really focus on how do I stay the most connected to this human organism? Therefore, out of these two, vaccinate or non-vaccinate. Okay, like which one has the expansion, which one has the light, which one has the construction and the closing down of the organism? Maybe that is going to be how I'm going to decide right now if I'm unable to. Maybe I'm going to ask somebody for help to help me stay grounded so I can make the decision. And yes, I'm going to use the data, but with that data, I'm also going to use what is going to make my body stronger, and therefore either one of those I'm going to be able to overcome. Either one of those is I'm going to be able to overcome. Which one is going to be easier on me? That is going to become the question right now. And I'll leave you with that, guys, because this is really a whole different level up that I am seeing day after day, experiencing, witnessing. And wow, that's all I have to say. So many blessings, and just remember, the biggest power is right here inside. Okay, all the best. All the best.